Sponsored by Baked Good. Fact: Baked Good delivers delicious homemade sweet and savory treats to Accra and Tema on Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays. You can pre-order via WhatsApp at 05595305888 or on Instagram via DM at BakedGoodGH.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Wonder League podcast. I'm your host, OG, here with my co-host, PM. SG is away with his wife for the weekend, so we have our good friend, GB, stepping in. PM, how you doing?
What's up, everyone? I'm feeling great. I'm happy to be here. I'm ready to slay. You know, I do it all day. I do this, and I wasn't even trying to rhyme because I'm not a rapper.
Well, thanks for having me, PM. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here, GB. Good looking out. Before we get into all things fancy, PM, would you mind telling the listeners what's about to go down weekly over here?
For sure. If you've been following us on Instagram and Twitter, you know what it's all about. For the uninitiated, though, there's a fantasy Premier League podcast where we are trying to help you optimize your team. And like I said in one of the trailers, if we fail, there is always a small competition at the end of the show where we'll be giving away $20 in your local currency this week. But more about the show, though, than the prize. We're going to go round by round debating from goalkeeper all the way to forward, and we'll even help you pick your captain. And in each round, OG is going to give us some topics, and based on the strength of our argument, he's going to award points. The loser is the one who's going to have to pay the prize money for the week. So no one is trying to lose this week. I know I'm not. I can't speak for GB. He's a newbie. I have a feeling it's not going to go well for him, but we'll see.
I never lose.
Oh, okay. We're going to see. We're going to see. It's funny because right before this started, he was talking about how he went to a soccer tournament, got to the final and lost. And I was telling him, your boy PM has 100% record in finals because I do this. I don't lose. but but anyway, one thing I'd like to remind you guys all to do is follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube page. We're on every platform that does podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, we are on Anchor, we're on Spotify, anywhere you get a podcast, a bunch of other platforms that we didn't even know existed, but we are on there. So do make sure you follow us if you want to get the latest news. We're going to be holding promotions, and there's this little issue of a PS5. We don't know when we're going to give it away, but we will see. Just stay tuned. If you listen to all our episodes, you'll be sure to be notified when we are giving away the PS5.
And on that note, we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, guys, to the One League podcast. Before we get into looking into all the games this week, this is a very short week with lots of blanks. There are only about 6 games. So, PM, what is your strategy going into a game like this? Are you want to drop every player that isn't going to show up, or you just hold the L and play it for
Well, if I were actually, handling teams and trying to optimize, I would have already prepared for this. I would have known that this week was going to be a short week. I would have optimized ahead. I always like to plan in advance. So knowing that this week was a short week, I would have had my players in place already, and I wouldn't have to do too many transfers.
Okay.
But
I mean, well, like not everyone usually has the time to be thinking and doing three weeks ahead. So I think, but the whole point is that with like a whole team, you should still have players that will be able to fill up the spot. So I don't think it's a lost cause yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that is true, and I guess that's my thing. Right now, you are already, you hadn't planned already 2 weeks ahead, and that's unfortunate. And you're already in this situation. But just going forward, that's how the mentality you have to use. 2 weeks ahead, 2 weeks ahead, or three. As far in the future as you can plan, I generally take it like 2 weeks ahead. So I'm thinking about this game week, the game week after that, and the game week after that. Planning for 3 weeks when I make transfers. But if you aren't in that position, oof, tough because there's just very limited games right now, and people have Chelsea players. You might have a Christian Pulisic in your team, but just looking at the fixtures right now, most of the big teams are playing. Manchester United is playing, Spurs is playing, Arsenal is playing. I don't even know if you want to call Arsenal a big team because
honestly.
what they've been doing this season. But Arsenal is playing, Man City is playing, even Everton, who have been tearing up roots, in the league so far, they're playing. So there are enough players on the board, or you should have enough players on the board not to have to make too many substitutions. It's just a question of you might have to sub out your Chelsea players. And I say you might have to sub out your Chelsea players. But when you look at the very next fixture, Chelsea's playing Fulham. So then you wouldn't want to sub them out because what you'd be doing is subbing them out for this week and then just bringing them back in. So
Right.
it's not worth taking the free hits. It's obviously not worth the wild card. If I think you should have enough firepower, unless you're a Chelsea fan and you had like three Chelsea players in your team, then you're kind of screwed. But because the very next game is Fulham, so you would probably want to have those three Chelsea players in your team after that. But if you're
Also,
West, you shouldn't have to do too much.
but I'll say though, you're putting too much disrespect on Fulham. They have, they've been playing well. Maybe not the results haven't been coming for them, but I think you should give them more credit.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. They started really badly, and obviously the podcast wasn't running, so people wouldn't have heard me say this. But I was saying Fulham is getting relegated. But yeah, right now they've actually been playing well with
Very true.
the
Yeah.
players they have. So
Well, I guess
I
two
still
two two London teams might be getting relegated. Fulham and Arsenal, Abi.
we love to see. We love to see.
Yeah.
I guess my thing is Fulham is not that great of a team, but if Frank Lampard, the PE teacher, cannot, the PE teacher cannot beat Fulham. Scott Parker is barely a manager. Come on, if they can't beat
Wow.
no, I'm just
Wow.
keeping it
On a high.
100. The guy is barely a manager. Like he's more of someone who knows how to dress. So he's
Yeah.
he's one of those guys. When you used to play football and some people just wear their regular clothes. Scott Parker is a guy who's going to come in his full Chelsea uniform, from jersey. He has the shin pads, he has the boots, the socks are pulled up, but the guy doesn't know how to play. That's Scott Parker for me.
Yeah. Or you can all tell that he's a Chelsea fan, Abi.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. With that said, let's get right into it. So we're gonna start off with goalkeepers. Looking at the game week, the games we have. GB, which keeper would you recommend to the listeners for guaranteed clean sheets?
All right. Well, since we're talking about goalkeepers, they're judged mostly on keeping a clean sheet and the saves. And if you
Right.
look at some of the fixtures that we have, you know that Man United, they're always going to score. Man
Mm-hmm.
City will score. So if you want to choose a goalkeeper for here, I would probably go for a match where you know it's going to be a very low scoring game. So probably choosing a goalkeeper from Sheffield United or Newcastle,
Oh,
or
nice.
maybe Wolves Everton. But then like Sheffield, they're probably getting relegated this season. So if anything, I would choose Cardallo from Newcastle. He's been playing really well, and that game against Liverpool, he made so many saves. So that would be my choice as
Okay,
goalkeeper.
great. PM, what about you?
Oh, I'm definitely going for the City goalkeeper. It's just a question of who's playing. You might want to take a gamble. Is it Edison or is it the other guy? Who knows? We'd love to see. I think, GB, you had a small trivia notes for the new Man City goalkeeper.
Oh yeah. So I don't know who knows, but so for the last I guess the past decade, Stephen, who's an American goalkeeper, he's the first American goalkeeper in the last decade who hasn't had a bald head.
Yeah, that's
Right.
actually because I think what is it, Casey Keller, and then there's
Yeah.
Brad Friedel, and then there's Tim Howard. They all bald, so yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that says he's going to be the best, or maybe he's going to be the worst.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right, great. And on the flip side, who is the keeper you believe must be avoided at all costs? Essentially, which team you think is gonna, concede the most goals? And I'll start with you, PM.
Oh yeah, so I think Edison will be out. This question is really, loaded because it's a short game week. So there are some keepers that you shouldn't have in your team in the first
In your
place because they're
team,
going to
yeah,
score 0 points.
great point.
But out of the ones already playing, well, Edison might still have COVID, so let's rule him out. Then we are
Right.
looking at Sheffield United. We know they are going to concede goals. They are going to ship goals. It's going to be sad. Like Newcastle isn't even that great of a team, but you are already looking at this fixture knowing, yeah, Sheffield United is going to lose. So definitely keep the Sheffield United keeper out of your team. But I know you guys don't have him. So
Yeah,
the question
exactly.
is going to be out of all the keepers that you probably do have, who should
Right,
you keep out? And
exactly.
I'm looking at Martinez or Hugo Lloris because that game could go either way. So keep those
Mhm.
two out of it.
Mm.
Great advice. GB?
Well, for me, I'd probably say the goalkeeper to avoid is Pickford. I
Okay.
think he's been very erratic.
I second that. In fact, I wish I could change. Pickford Pickford is one of the worst goalkeepers in the league. I
Yeah,
don't I
so
don't know how he's the England number one.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know how he's still like the number one goalkeeper, but yeah, I would avoid picking Pickford
Okay.
because who knows, he will put the
That's
ball in
great.
his own net.
Yeah.
Sure, that wouldn't shock me. I
Right.
wonder what the odds are for Pickford to score an own goal.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Um. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the round on the goalkeepers. We have GB in the lead with 14, PM not too behind with 9.
We all
Moving
know
on.
you are cheating, but we'll manage.
Yes,
Oh,
we
who's
do.
cheating?
We'll manage.
See
We'll
the one that
manage.
never loses in the final. He's
Oh,
already worried.
this will make the comeback even sweeter. Don't worry.
No.
Okay, we shall see.
All right, moving on to defenders, and a similar question to the previous one, but GB, what are the best team, all teams to pick a see what I do, a rookie keeper, so defender.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me go check. I
Edit that
just saw it.
out.
Tell me when.
Go.
Okay, moving on to defenders. Similar questions to those about the keepers. But PM, which team or teams do you think are the best to pick a defender from for this game week?
I'm going to have to go. If you're looking at the low end, I'm obviously going to have to go Newcastle because they're playing Sheffield United. But if you're trying to get high end defenders, top qualities, you're looking at Man City. Josh Stones he's been playing really well. So I'm definitely going Josh Stones. And just looking around the league, you have Manchester United, Burnley. I do not expect Manchester United to drop points. So let me put it this way. They may surprise me. Manchester United, that's another team that is coached by a PE teacher. So they can surprise you at any time. And
Hey.
I'm
Put
just
some
I'm
respect on Oli's name,
Let
okay?
him know.
the guy is like lubed up. If I put respect on him, it will just slide right off. But um
Oh wow.
yeah, so I'm looking at Manchester United, but that's risky. But if you want to be safe, I'll go Man City defenders, Josh Stones, and maybe one Bissaka from Manchester United.
I
Okay.
mean,
No, go on.
So so I'll say, I mean, I was actually shocked that you decided to say like the best team to pick a defender from is Newcastle because from like when they were playing Brentford and they lost to some championship team. So so
So
so I don't
so
think they can keep a clean sheet.
So here's my thing. Here's my thing. I actually low
Good
key
point.
watch Brentford, and Brentford are actually very, very good. They are very, very, very good. They are
Don't know about
underrated.
very,
I
very.
think. I think Brentford is one of those teams that if they played in the Premier League, they would
Hmm.
actually they wouldn't be necessarily relegated. They wouldn't be as bad as Fulham. Let me put it
Mm,
that way. I think they'd be on the level of slightly above Brighton.
mm.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
they are not that bad.
see,
Brentford.
I'll say so. Sheffield, right? They've only gotten 10 point. 10, wait, they've only had one. They haven't won a game this season, if I'm right.
Yeah,
But I think,
that's correct.
but I think that is bound to change. And
Okay,
honestly, I
good
think
point.
it could be against Newcastle.
Hmm.
Okay.
I mean, I'm looking at the table. Newcastle is 15th, and you could be right because they haven't won any of their last 5 games. Actually, they are on. It's not even borderline. They are on relegation form. So,
Yeah.
but
So
with that being said, I still expect Newcastle to win because just looking at Sheffield United's form, they lost their last 3 games.
Hmm.
They lost their last 3 games,
yeah,
and the only
yeah,
reason why
that is true.
The only reason why they haven't lost their last 5 games is because they had one draw in there somewhere. So they really are that bad.
Great point.
Well, but our second, I mean, that one will be risky. That game is risky. But I'll second your
Yeah.
other point that Man City definitely the best team to pick a defender from because there is no way that I'll see Brighton getting a point or even
Yeah.
scoring a goal against City.
Yeah, great point.
However, I'll choose a different defender. I'll choose Ruben Diaz, not
Mm,
Stones.
mm.
That would be because he's just come in and just changed that whole team, from when they were leaking goals left and right.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay. And just to get a little, deeper into this, generally just give me the defenders from whichever team you want that you think are best for this week. Either ones, you know what? One of you give me ones that you think will get the clean sheets. I guess that has to do with the team, but even the ones that you think are more likely to score a goal or have an assist.
mm.
So, JB, let's start with you.
Okay, well, so the
However you
best
want to
defender,
go. Mhm.
I'll still go with Ruben Diaz. In terms
Okay.
of getting a goal, I'll actually go with two defenders from Burnley. I'll
Okay.
go with Tarkowski or Ben Mee, uh, to get the goal.
Okay.
If
Okay.
that's what you're looking for in your defender,
Yeah.
they're really good at set pieces. And United, you know that team. You don't know who will show up one day. Even though, like, I root for my Man U team, but you don't know. They cannot defend set piece. Look at the game against City. It
All
was
right.
set piece that destroyed them.
Great
So,
point.
so yeah.
Okay. Great. PM.
Who will get a goal? I'm looking at this Tottenham Aston Villa game, and it could go one of either two ways. It could either be Spurs just sit back and pull a Mourinho handbrake up, Bass is packed, no one is getting
Yeah,
past them. And Villa likes to play on the counter, and so do
very
Spurs.
true.
So I can see the situation where Spurs get the first goal because Son, he does it. He's like me. And Spurs are 1-0 up, they just sit back and they just counter. And I can see Doherty from Spurs getting like an assist or something because
Mm,
he's a very good attacking defender,
yeah,
very very good. Otherwise, I could see any of the fullbacks from Wolves and Everton doing something. So
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, if I can add one person,
Okay.
just the suggestions for our listeners out there, probably
Mhm.
Tyrone Mings.
Oh.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That that might be someone to
Okay.
consider. He's very strong, so you might just put him in as like some player like that just comes out of nowhere with some goals,
Right.
and yeah, they could keep a clean sheet as well. So yeah.
Okay, that is great. Similarly, are there any teams you guys feel we need to avoid picking players from? You guys touched on it a little bit, but just in case you wanted to go deeper into it or bring up other teams you hadn't discussed, and then I'll start with BPM.
Um, Definitely 100% Sheffield United. I
What?
know, I know. Oh yeah, avoid picking players from Sheffield. I hope that was a sarcastic word. Otherwise, we may have to have words.
It is. It is. No, no. It is not sarcastic.
You
No.
really no. I'm not. I'm not picking. It's too risky, man.
I am a great believer in Sheffield. Look at last season; they were competing for fifth position. You know,
You,
so
you don't go. You don't go half of the season and call it a
I,
fluke.
I think the probability is that they will get a win. Huh?
You don't go half of the season and call that a fluke, though.
It's not even half of the season yet.
Right. This is game week 19. Practically half. You do realize, speaking, they are the worst Premier League team in history thus far.
Wait, no, I think they need one more game for that. I
No,
think
I
this
mean
is
at the 18 game point or 17 game point. I believe they are 2 points.
okay. All right.
Um,
If you say so, if you say so.
I think yep. I think I'm right about this, but yeah. One person I want to throw out there though that I forgot to mention, Kieran Tierney.
Hmm.
Who had a performance for ages. Just tore open that right hand side of West Brom and unleashed. It was like one of those goals that you
Yes, sir.
see a Danny Alves scoring.
Speak on it.
Like this kind of skillful
Yeah.
goal. But it
Yeah.
was very, very nice, very, very finesse. It's like the guy destroyed that. What's the button for finesse on FIFA nowadays? Is it R1? Just destroyed the
Yeah.
R1
Yeah.
button and
R1.
just killed him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, and that's the end of this round on defenders. GB's still in the lead, but PM
Wood.
closing in.
Wood. Wood.
No, I mean
I
24 to 21 is very close. Come on.
Oh, I'm just giving you false hope, okay? False
There you
hope.
You know how it is. We are trying to make sure that he comes back on the next episode. So make him think he's winning.
That's funny.
I think I might even let him win overall. So
Oh, there
that
you
Oh,
go.
I
see, you
was
see,
watching.
you see, look at
When
that.
the team's
Oh
ready.
no, the true facts. I was watching this YouTube video talking about if you want to make someone like you and you are competing, you don't win because when you win, the person in second place feels sad and bad, and you want your guests to feel happy. So you let them win and they're happy.
That's a lie. That is what someone that always loses says.
Charisma
That
on
is,
command. I
it is, it
advise you
is
guys to go and watch it.
excuse. It is excuse that you're using here. But we'll see. We'll see.
Sure. I mean,
Bring your best game on.
all I'll say is don't
That's
make me
what I
change my
say.
mind. Don't make me change my mind.
Oh,
Oh,
please change it. Change it.
It's tempting, but I'm trying to get the podcast off to a great start.
oh, it's funny. Okay, moving on to midfielders. Let's start with the must-have midfielders for this game week. Those listeners absolutely need in your team, and those that you feel if they don't have, it's worth taking the -4, -8 for. And let's start with you, PM.
If you don't have Heung-min Son in your team, what are you doing?
Is he
Really
a
and truly,
midfielder?
is
Yep.
he not? If he's not a midfielder, I mean, all I'll say, if you don't have him in your team, maybe he is a forward. I believe I'm correct though when I say he's a midfielder. If you don't have
Yeah.
him in your team, I don't know what you're doing.
But real quick, what if you have Kane already in your team? What do you say to those?
The dynamic duo, all the better. All the better. You're
I
going to get
mean,
the
but I'll
Kane.
say
Mhm.
it's probably better to have Son rather than Kane at the minute because Kane is
I won't
dropping so
disagree with
deep.
that.
Really?
No, I won't disagree with that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because Kane has been dropping deep and giving more of assists, while Son can give assist and score most of the goals as well.
Right.
Right.
And as a midfielder, if you are given assists and scoring, you get more points than if you're a striker doing the exact same thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. PM. Any other you have? Or
I think Spurs is going to win that game. I think City is going to beat Brighton. So you need to have a Kevin De Bruyne or a Raheem Sterling. Either will do. Kevin De Bruyne is going to miss some easy chances in that game, but he's going to give the assist, and Raheem Sterling is going to score the goals if he starts. So either will do. And from Arsenal, I want to see Bukayo Saka. It's very tempting, but
Huh.
I'm going to swerve that and I'm going to go Bruno Fernandes because, come on, he's going to
Right.
score a
Oh.
penalty. Everyone knows they're going to get a penalty in that game.
Facts.
He's going to score it.
Wow. The jogging club conspiracy theories over here. I guess
Oh yeah. So,
Club, Mourinho, Frank Lampard, all of them. They're all piling on Man U that they get penalties. Is it their fault if defenders are kicking their players in the penalty box?
I've realized in the recent games, Alex Ferguson, visits Old Trafford sometimes, and he sits awfully close to
Oh
like the referees,
wow.
and we all know the kind of
love this
influence
theory.
Alex Ferguson
I cannot
has on
believe this.
referees.
I
That's
cannot believe it.
that's
So
all.
so this
That's
is
all
what it
I'm going
has
to
gotten
say. That's
into,
all I'm
man.
going to say.
I'm here for the conspiracy
If
theories.
it's that, maybe Arsenal should bring back Arsene Wenger, Abi,
Oh,
and he'll
Yeah.
go and sit there as
he,
well.
GB is trying to out me as an Arsenal fan, but I don't really claim them. I'm neutral.
Okay. Because they're fighting relegation.
I'm a
See,
fan of the game.
okay, sure,
Love the game.
sure.
Mhm.
But I'll second what you said. I mean, I think there
Mhm.
are two midfielders, even though they're probably very expensive.
Right.
Yes, Kevin De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes. Those are like two absolutely fantastic midfielders to have. But on a low key,
Mm-hmm.
I think like equally very good. If you look on
Right.
like the chart of like chances created and assists, one
Right.
player that goes, I mean, like maybe a little bit underrated is Jack Grealish.
Oh, I don't think Jack Grealish is underrated. I think
I mean,
he was
I mean,
in.
well, yes, maybe not underrated, but like, you know, it's Aston Villa, so people are like, eh.
Right.
That's fair.
True.
The
That's the
only
point.
reason I didn't pick him, when looking at that game is I'm looking at the game, I'm thinking Spurs is going to win this. So, I don't want to tell people to pick Jack
I
Grealish. I
mean,
think Spurs will win it, and I think it's going to be a Jose Mourinho typical game. Spurs score first in the 10th minute. They sit
Hmm.
back for the rest of the game, and you know,
I don't know. I mean, did you see that Aston Villa like versus Man U? Jack Grealish was tormenting that team, and he could have had several more assists. So I think he can definitely give you. I'll be bold. I'll say he'll give at least two assists against Spurs, and
mm,
he'll probably score as well.
the only thing I'll say to end this is that the difference is Spurs was coached by Jose Mourinho. Manchester United is coached by a
Wow.
PE teacher.
Good point. Back to the picture.
Do you know what I want? I want Man U to win the Premier League title, and then I'll come here and say, see, PE
I
teacher
told you.
won.
Ah,
Tune in 2030 when this happens.
Oh,
this funny.
okay,
2030.
all right. Or
That's
maybe
great
he's
stuff.
talking about Mikel Arteta, because that's one proper PE teacher over there.
Facts. Absolutely.
It's
Okay.
funny because that's actually me being kind. Usually I say, school, what's his name? Social as a PE teacher's assistant, but I decided to upgrade him today. But anyway, I
Uh,
guess we should move on.
okay.
Um, guys, very soon we would figure out what PE teacher heads PM's feelings because be a little soft
Right,
spot.
right.
But moving on, give me a team because I guess there are not that many games
Mhm.
this game week. So give me a team you would recommend we pick multiple defenders from. Sorry, midfielders.
Is this mine?
Yeah, PM. Take it.
I'm definitely going to say Manchester City because come
Yeah,
on,
more
I already told you De Bruyne, Sterling.
respect.
De Bruyne, Sterling, and depending on who else plays, they might play like a Mahrez. I know that Phil Foden has been playing. Phil
Oh,
Foden performs
very.
whenever he
Yeah, very
starts.
good.
The only
Very
question is, will he start? That's the only
Point.
question. But so
Right.
Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling. I don't know how you are going to put those
Gundogan.
three.
Gundogan was Gundogan as well.
Him too. But I guess for him, what's his name?
He's been
Santo
scoring.
Mampep. Santo Mampep likes to play. He's been scoring, but that really like his regular form, or is that atypical? Is that an anomaly? And I say it's
I
more of an
mean, it's an
anomaly.
atypical season. So
That's a very good point.
Fair. But, do you want to gamble or you want to go what's safe? And this may be the beginning of an uptick in form for okay,
yeah,
good one, but I'd rather pick like a Sterling. I'd rather pick a De Bruyne. I'd rather pick a Phil Foden. I don't know how
yeah.
you're going to fit all three in your team, but if you could, I
Yeah.
think you're safe.
Right.
Yeah. For me, I'll actually choose the main team in Manchester. I'll say United.
Hmm.
If you can have Bruno Fernandes on your team, you have
Right.
Paul Pogba on your team,
Okay.
you have Marcus Rashford.
I
Those
really
three.
like Rashford. I really like
Those
Rashford.
three. Because I know, like they'll ping those balls behind the Burnley defense, and Rashford has pace to burn. He'll destroy that team. So yeah, those three. Those three are those for me.
Okay. That's really
Definitely,
that's
definitely don't choose multiple defenders from
Mm-hmm.
Spurs.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
agree. I
Very
agree.
good.
That game could go, like I said, the Jose Mourinho way, or it could be very open. But I want to believe the Jose Mourinho way this weekend. And, I can see a 1-0 or a 2-0 win from Spurs. So let's see.
Okay. Great. I guess just lastly before we wrap this round up, do you guys have any other suggestions in the midfielders?
I
No.
actually do.
I do
Great.
too, actually.
Talking
Maybe let's
about
use
that
the same
Spurs
one.
game.
Okay, not the same one.
Oh no! Talking about the Spurs game, I think Ndombele.
Yep.
Like
That
that.
is, he's a powerhouse.
He
This is
is.
what they wanted Paul Pogba to be doing, and then
Mm-hmm.
Paul just ate too much porridge. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think
Spend
that
too
would be
much
my
time with
choice.
his baba. Wow.
Very true. I was looking at his Instagram the other day, and he had like this avatar that was like dancing. I was like, Pogba, what are you
There you
Yeah.
go. That's where he spends his time, and
doing?
he's really talented footballer. But if he had like the work ethic of Cristiano Ronaldo, and granted, no one has the work ethic of Cristiano Ronaldo, but if he did, Paul Pogba could be something else. Because I don't think he's actually really trying. But anyway, but back to my pick. My pick is Adama Traore. Adama Traore scored a really fabulous goal in the FA Cup. Um,
Mhm.
Right.
he basically, when you think of an Adama Traore goal, you think he's running past people and then he's going to shoot. But you run past a few people, cut inside, bent it into the near corner, beat the goalkeeper with power. And Adama Traore, the guy's a beast.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, like before we started the podcast, I did have Adama Traore on my mind as well because I think he has started the season pretty slow, but
Yeah,
I think
so a lot of
now he's
people don't
picking
know
it up.
this. A lot of people don't know this. The reason why he started the season slow is because he was actually having some injury issues, and so Nuno wasn't really picking him. So, but
Mhm.
I want to believe he's back now since he's being picked a lot now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's good for bringing that up. All right, great. That rounds up midfielders. Look at that. PM with a 1 point lead over GB, but we have two more rounds to go, and anything is possible.
I really just want to show him that it's possible that I can win, but I'm just going to give him back the lead. It was what, 37,
Oh,
36.
look at this.
I'm going
Why
to
are
give
you
him
always
back the
giving excuses in
Yeah,
case you lose?
blue.
I'm
I
being
know.
polite. You're in my house. I'm just treating you like I guess, like I
Okay,
should.
all right.
My mother taught me well.
Okay, all right.
Moving on to forwards. GB, who are the best forwards for this game week? Playing in the
So
league.
I think Anthony Martial
Okay.
he will be like a really good. I know He's only scored 2 goals in the Premier League.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But as like Solskjaer said, you know, it's like once the floodgate opens, or rather, it's once it rains, it pours. That's it. So I
Yes.
think, and especially like that goal he got against Aston Villa. I think the work he's been doing on the training pitch is going to come through. And Burnley, even though they're usually a solid team, but I think they'll just have too much for Burnley.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't agree with anything that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says, but the man is, or he was, a very good striker in his day, so he knows what he's talking about. And I do believe in the talent of Anthony Martial. I think he's going to shine through. Just, I guess, one thing I would say, just looking at the fixtures, Lacazette has been informed. Alexander
Right.
Lacazette. Arsenal is at home at the Emirates, so might be someone I might go for, but an even cheaper option. And I've been saying this the whole podcast that Newcastle is going to beat Sheffield United, so a cheaper option would even be Callum Wilson.
No. See, I'm actually going to go for the other team and say McGoldrick is the forward to actually go for in that game.
If you can spell McGoldrick, I'll agree with you.
Okay, MC
Okay, we get your point.
G.
Let's move on.
Who's
Let's move
the
on.
See, look at
That's
him.
right.
Look at him. He's always worried.
Hello, scared now. Oh man.
I didn't want you to embarrass yourself.
Sure.
On to the next topic. Calvin Lewin has not, I believe, he's not scored a goal like in the last 5 games. So on that note, that makes me wonder: are there any forwards you think we should drop for this game week, or even just going forward permanently, or at least for the foreseeable future? And PM, let you start this one.
I mean, I'm going to go with the obvious thing right now. Is Chelsea's not playing. Timo
Right.
Werner is out of form. Drop him. Drop him. Even though they are playing Fulham next week, drop Timo Werner. I say that and I feel like I'm going to regret this, but drop Timo Werner. Actually, I'm going to regret it. Don't drop Timo Werner. But one thing I will say, though, in terms of the people who are playing, people to drop, I will say yes. Carlos Lawson. He's been so disappointing. Another person to drop, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I was watching a video of them in training just today, and the man was training the rest of the squad and making the rest of the squad look like chumps when it came to the finishing drill. PEA Aman Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has been out of form. But in that training video, I have to say, I'm taking that back. I think he's going to perform. I think he's
I'll,
going to
I'll
perform.
I'll actually disagree and say you should definitely drop Aubameyang.
Okay.
Definitely. I don't know. I think since he signed that contract, he has said, you know what, my future is secure, and he's not fighting. I mean, because he knows that they're not going to sell him. He's not going to Barcelona. He's not going to Real Madrid. There's no motivation to perform
Good
anymore.
point.
So I'll say drop him.
I don't know that all that is true. Like, when you look at it from the outside, yes, all those things sound very plausible. But Emeka Aubameyang, he's not that guy who is going to drop performances, whether consciously or subconsciously, because contract. The man loves Arsenal. Whether it's because he's being paid so much, so he loves the way we pay him, or he actually does love Arsenal. The man loves Arsenal, and
Right.
I've been watching the games where he hasn't been performing. He's upset. He's not happy, and not necessarily upset at the team. He's not happy with himself. He feels he can do better. I feel like he's about to prove you wrong. I will
I don't
see.
know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't. I wouldn't go as far as saying he loves Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? I might be wrong. He might go on some fiery run and
Mm.
start banging in the
Oh,
goals again, but I think it's unlikely.
okay.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Time will tell. Time
yeah.
will
Time will
tell.
tell.
Um, do you have any other suggestions for forwards? Any, especially with the limited games, maybe any team
Yeah, I mean,
we
I'll
don't keep
probably
out?
say, honestly, like, I think this one will probably be a bit controversial as well, but I'll probably say drop Verdi. You know, I mean,
That's
like, the last few games he hasn't played, and he was injured recently. And that's an ancient man, One of these days, it's going to catch up with him. And I just, he hasn't been getting like so many chances. I think the defenders now know that all he does is just run. They'll kick the ball forward and he'll run. So I think like they're backing off a little bit off of him now. And I think it'll be harder for him
right.
to score goals.
See, here's my problem with that argument. Who doesn't know this about Jamie Vardy? Like he's been doing this for the past 4 5 seasons or so. So if you don't
Mm-hmm.
know this about Jamie Vardy, there's an issue. I think they know this, but they can't stop him, and so they
Of
won't be
course.
able to stop him. I just want to get this in before even though the clock has expired, I should say. I've been talking about planning ahead, and I'm saying that Spurs is going to win the Aston Villa game. So Harry Kane, not be just because they win the Aston Villa game. I'm picking also because the game week after that they have Sheffield United. So Harry Kane is there for the taking, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Um, Great. That brings us to the end of the round about the forwards. GB right where he belongs in the lead, and PM trailing
Yeah.
behind, like we
Oh, if you
promised.
can
Hey,
see me
whoa,
right
whoa!
now, I
You
am
are
I
doing
am
really good. You are doing well
I
done. We
am
want you back. We want
I
you
am
back.
doing oh
Backflips.
boy. I am like doing my celebration right
Oh gosh, love to
I,
see it. I
I feel like I know the one you're talking about.
and finally, before we wrap this up, of course we have to talk about captains. I feel like I know which way we're gonna go, but
I
GB,
mean, Shocky.
yeah, GB, give
now.
me your top three choices for captains this game week.
I think it's actually like you might have probably guessed it. The top three captains that I'll go for Bruno Fernandes because he'll probably
Gosh,
score, give an assist, or score a
yep,
penalty.
So you
And
agree with me?
especially,
So you
I
agree
mean,
with me?
because Man U is so good, they have good players that for some reason the defenders can't help themselves but just kick.
Agree here.
So
Yeah.
like he will score or give an assist. That one I'm sure of. The
Okay.
other person to give your captain is I'll go with Son,
Okay.
human Son,
okay,
and then probably the third choice I'll go with Kevin De Bruyne.
okay,
Oh,
yeah,
so my captains are like virtually the same, except I'm not going to
obvious,
go with Kevin De Bruyne. I think this week the choice for captains is pretty obvious
obvious,
because
right?
it's
Yeah,
City's going to win, United is going to win, and Spurs may win. So obviously Bruno, obviously Son, and then from City, I'm not picking De Bruyne. I'm picking Raheem Sterling because you know, like I said, De Bruyne, he's actually not that great of a finisher. He gives a lot of assists, but if you watch him, he actually misses a lot of, I won't say easy chances, but chances
right.
that if Sterling had, he would score. Chances that if Aguero had, he would score. Chances that even, I'd say Mahrez, I'd say Jesus would score. So for
Have
that
you seen
reason,
Sterling finishing? Sterling misses so many easy chances.
Great point.
Come on.
but he scores so many more. That's the thing.
How many more?
Many,
When
many more.
last did he win the top scorer award?
Let me put it this way. Sterling scores, the rate at which Sterling scores, you might mistake him for a striker. Let's put it
No
that
way.
way. No, no, this is
No
true.
way.
This is true. This is true. Maybe you won't mistake him for a Man City striker because they have Aguero who scores at record-setting rates. But if you put him
Right.
in any other team, he he might be scoring at the rate of their striker.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. But honestly, like for the benefit of my team, I actually want Man City to draw or lose this game, even though it's not going to happen.
I'm glad you know.
Yeah, great. Since you guys had similar top three choices, I want you guys to give me your. I mean, pick one, the best one to have, the one you must have as a captain.
Bruno
And
Fernandez.
GB, yeah, I'll let you take this.
Bruno Fernandez.
All right, stick to it.
He's such an inspirational player. That's the one to have.
Okay.
Um,
Points. PM.
I want to say Bruno also, but the fact of the matter is, like, I'm more confident that Man City is going to beat Brighton than Manchester United is going to beat Brighton, and so I have to go for whoever I picked on the Man City side. That's Raheem Sterling, and let's face it, Manchester United might win like 3-0. But you can't say that you don't believe someone in your house that City might end up winning like 6. It's possible. I think the ceiling for United is about 3, but for City it might be like 6, 7. So I want to say Raheem.
But people also expected Manchester United to go against Leeds, and look at what happened. So
exactly my point. It's Manchester United. So go for the City captain.
No, go for your captain. That one is a safe bet.
Oh, yeah.
No one has been involved in as many goals, goals and assists as Bruno Fernandes, and he's only been here for less than 12 months. So don't underestimate that man. He's
my mother used to tell me that a prophet is not known or acknowledged in his own house. So I'm telling you here, Raheem Sterling, let's see what happens.
Everyone acknowledges Sterling. What are you talking about?
No, I'm the prophet in this situation, and I'm telling you, Raheem Sterling.
Okay.
So let's see. And this is my house, so let's see.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Some player. I know this is not related to the captain, but like it takes my mind back to people you should absolutely remove from your team. Willian.
1000% agree. But the unfortunate thing, William. I can't believe we actually missed that. That was actually very easy. Was that one of the questions?
Yeah, that was one of the questions.
I don't. If you still have William in your team, I don't know what you're doing.
Honestly.
So,
I remember.
Anyway.
Right. Okay, that's great. Are there any other suggestions you guys have for captains?
Actually, I'll probably say Jack Grealish. Might be. I mean, probably a little bit risky, but if it if it goes the other way, that would be a really good captain to have.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to pick Jack Grealish as my captain. I don't see this as being his week. No, you're talking about Jose Mourinho, who was able to mark Messi out of the Champions League game, and he knows that Jack Grealish is their main player.
Yes, that was when Mourinho was still good.
And he is still good.
No, he's not. He's outdated.
No. I think Mourinho is still good. What you are seeing right now is COVID-19. I won't say I don't really know what the record is, but right now, but I know at a certain point, Mourinho had the most points in 2020.
No way.
He's joining. No, he did.
No way.
I stand to be corrected, but I believe at the end of the Premier League season, the one that just finished, Mourinho had the most points.
No.
The 2020 half of it.
No, it was Manchester United.
Was it?
No, Manchester United. Like definitely Manchester United, not Spurs.
Oh, actually, I believe you're right. You're probably right. Yeah, because they had that resurgence. But going into the 2021, my point generally is Mourinho is not washed. Mourinho is not washed because we're talking about Spurs who had this bloated fixture list at the beginning of the season were able to navigate it excellently. We're talking about Jose Mourinho who has all of a sudden resurrected Ndombele who came in and Pochettino wasn't performing. Yes, wasn't really doing too well. in
I
the.
wouldn't say resurrected. I mean, he had his fitness issues, and and actually, like I'll say though, like I'm actually surprised at how well Ndombele has been playing, because if you look at Mourinho's history from
Oh,
Real Madrid and
right,
United, with Iker
right.
Casillas, Ramos,
Right.
Pogba, I actually thought, oh boy. I mean, like how you even see how he's dealing with Dele Alli at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think.
I won't argue with you there. There's always the one player that this guy singles out and decides, you're not my friend today or
Yeah.
forevermore. Amen. And it's like, yeah. But the one thing I will say though is that um, you mentioned Ike Casillas, and even to some extent, Mesut Ozil at
Mm-hmm.
Real Madrid. What happened to those players? One of them got sold. Actually, both of them got sold, didn't they? You mentioned Paul Pogba at
Mm-hmm.
Manchester United, and I think we can all agree that Paul Pogba has underperformed for Manchester United since he signed. He has like little spurts where
True,
he's a
true.
brilliant
Yeah,
player, but
yeah.
overall, no.
Yep.
So I want to believe he's right with what he's doing with Dele Ali. I've always said Dele Ali is overrated, but
Mm-hmm.
I think he's actually overrated. What Dele Ali has going for him is he was playing alongside Harry Kane, who is
Wow.
he might break Alan Shearer's record. He might do it. Um, and the other thing that Dele Ali had going for him was he was actually a really big guy. You don't usually have someone that big playing in the hole for a team. And I think that really helped him, making late runs in the box and scoring. Dele Ali was really good for one season. After that,
Wow.
no,
He
no,
was
that's
he
mean.
was balling he was balling at MK Dons before going to Spurs. So I don't think he's all of a sudden
Good point.
lost his technical ability.
He
I
was
think
balling. No, I'm not. He has technical. Look, if you're playing the Premier League, you have technical ability. I'm talking about numbers, putting up the numbers. Balling at MK Dons doesn't count. That's it's in the championship. Like,
no, yes, it doesn't count, but he came to Spurs, and in his first season he was destroying Premier League quality players.
and then what did he do after that? Nothing. That's my
No,
point.
it is not nothing. It's see, like Formula One, right? It is all about confidence. And
Hmm.
Mourinho, that
Right.
man, I don't know. He just cannot. Maybe he just doesn't understand. Some players that he just doesn't know how to put. I mean, like I won't say he doesn't know how to, because Mourinho is very good at building like a siege mentality. But like you said, he just decides like some players that he's just going to destroy them. And unfortunately, it's like Dele Alli at the minute. I mean, like, how would you expect to like be putting up those numbers he was if you can't even get the game? You know?
Let me,
Right.
you are the guest here, and PM really knows a lot about how I debate. I tell you something, and then I go and show you the receipts. So let me show you the receipts for Dele Alli. Dele Alli landed in the Premier League 2015-2016 season,
Hmm.
10 goals. Wasn't really that much of a starter. That was like his breakthrough season. The second season, which is the season that we are all talking about, where he was brilliant, 22 goals, and from
Hmm.
then on downward. Next season, 14 goals. Season after that, 7. Season after that, 9. This season, 2. He hasn't really hit the heights
Oh,
of
come on.
that
You see,
22
I mean,
since.
see, midfielder scored 10 goals, and you'll be like, oh yes, that's a really good season. So
Okay, and
seven, so
mm,
7 and 9, it's
let
still
me
close enough to 10. I mean,
let me. Here's the thing. I'm not talking about what's it called? Like 7 goals, in the Premier League or 7 goals. I'm talking about overall. He scored 7 goals in total across all 4 competitions that he played in.
you know what? Since you're talking about going to prepare, tell me how many midfielders in the Premier League scored 10 goals in all
We're
competitions?
talking about top tier midfielders. And
Duh.
sure,
Even
sure,
top tier midfielders. How many
sure.
goals did Kevin De Bruyne score last season?
I'm pretty sure it was more than Dele Ali. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
Let's
it
put it that way.
wasn't 22 goals.
It was more than, and that first of all. Kevin De Bruyne, I myself told you that Kevin De Bruyne finishing is not his, it's not a strong suit. He's not that player. Like people say he has an excellent right foot. That's very true. He has an excellent right foot for passing. For finishing though, that's like a different story. He's not
Have you
that great.
seen his shots?
It
So,
looks it looks
That man
yes.
can break a post.
it looks amazing, but it doesn't go in. if you
Or,
got
or
if you
he,
got if you got prices for amazing looking shots, what's his name? There was this guy who used to play for Arsenal, David Bentley. Uh, excellent skill, amazing looking shots. There's this Ghanaian player. His name is Larry Kingston.
Mm.
I say that and I'm laughing.
Like he's
But,
legend Jamaican. Like
no offense to our Ghanaian listeners, but he had the most interesting looking trajectory on his crosses. But that didn't make him, an excellent free kick taker or an excellent, direct free kick taker or an excellent goal scorer. So in terms of aesthetics, you can have excellent look on the bend of, your shots. It doesn't mean it's necessarily going in. It doesn't make you a good finisher. But yeah, Kevin De Bruyne's game is not based on scoring goals, is based on assists. So I think it wouldn't be apples to apples comparison, But there's so
honestly,
many.
okay, so like even apart from Bruno Fernandes, which
Mhm.
midfielders like puts up crazy numbers in terms of goals?
Sure, I can pick almost anyone from Man City, right? Raheem Sterling does it.
Raheem Sterling is technically not a midfielder.
Where does he play?
He's an attacker.
He's a midfielder. I
He's
mean,
not.
uh, that one is open to debate. Depending on who you ask, to tell you he plays on the left side of the front three. Sure, call him an attacker, but in fantasy he's going to be listed as a midfielder, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just talking about just
great
traditional midfielders. That what you're talking about. Dele
Yeah.
Ali though is
Dele
when he
Alli
played,
didn't play as part of like the forward line.
he kind of did. That was actually what my point was going to be. He was
He played in
almost
the hole.
he was kind of like a hybrid between the second striker and the number 10. So he wasn't their playmaker, but he was also expected to get goals. If that
Mhm.
makes sense. He wasn't Ozil, he wasn't De Bruyne,
No,
but he was someone who would make runs into the box and
it was
score.
more like Thomas Muller.
Sure, I'm not sure. We could say that. Yeah, actually, yes, that's actually a fair comparison. Actually, yes, exactly like him. Um, but yeah, he let me see. He doesn't score as many goals as Thomas Muller, does he? Well, when
No.
Thomas Muller was Thomas Muller, he's had this, I don't know what I'd call it, a dip, but players grow old. But in his heyday, Thomas Muller was consistently putting up the numbers for like 5 or 6 seasons, and that has never been Dele Ali. He had 2 good seasons really,
Because
one
he's
half season and one
young.
good season.
right.
He's young. He's only like what, 23, 24.
Dele Ali.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He's probably 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's still young. Like
Okay.
there's bound to be some regression, and then before he gets to his peak. So
That's fair. That's fair. But in my opinion, we are seeing more of a Jack Wilshere, not because of injuries, than we are seeing someone who's about to rise in his prime. I think his prime has already happened. That's my opinion.
I disagree. You know what? You know what? When he goes to PSG,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see the real Dele Alli with Pochettino back. You'll see.
Honestly, that wouldn't surprise me. The French league is a vacation league. Um, they don't really
Wow.
have competition. Let me
All
put it this way.
farmers, eh? All farmers in the
Unai Emery went to the French league and he won. Came to Arsenal, didn't do anything.
because those two squads are vastly different. Arsenal were like always going. They were always trending downwards.
That's fair. That's fair. But the reason why I picked Unai Emery was that, and I don't care what anyone tells me about this Monaco team. I know that this Monaco team had Mbappe. I know that they had Tommy Lamar. I know that they had young Timmy Bakayoko, who was actually playing well at the time. They had Bernardo Silva. They had players. But I'm sorry, I don't understand how any team can go and beat another team with an unlimited budget. That just blows my mind. That's why
I
I
mean,
say,
I mean, what's ne-
Unai Emery wasn't that great of a coach.
I mean, Barcelona and Real Madrid don't always win. They don't always win La Liga. Atletico Madrid, they have significantly less budget than them, but they've beaten them to the title sometimes. So,
Atletico Madrid have a very great coach, though. No one can deny that Diego Simeone is a very great coach. That's
he
the thing.
is.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So that's the one factor that stands out for Atletico Madrid.
I mean,
Otherwise,
Unai Emery actually was at Sevilla. How many times in a row did they win the Europa League? So yeah,
that was the time.
don't
See,
knock
but
him.
that was at the time when no one was paying attention to the Europa League.
What do you mean no one was paying attention? Come
That
on.
was at the time where you win the Europa League. Your reward for winning the Europa League is being in the Europa League next year. Now the
And
reward is being at the Champions League, and people are taking
I
it
think
more serious now.
I mean, he won them. He won that recently. Like, that was recent, not like 2008, 2004. It wasn't like 2000 and what, maybe 16, 17 or so, or something like that. So like, I think he's a good coach. You you obviously have coaches like Klopp, where they have like this cult of personality built around them, and obviously that affects like how players see them, you know. But for some maybe Unai Emery, because of his he couldn't communicate with them in like English very well.
Every
That probably
every every interview he walks in the good evening. Like the guy, he didn't really impress me. I keep it 100. He just wasn't the guy. But anyway,
yeah.
I feel like we've actually stretched the bounds of this podcast. But I'll turn it over to OG to tell you guys, who won and who has what
Woo!
points. I feel like we already know who won and we already know
Woo!
who let who win so that
My
he'd feel happy. But OG, what's the word?
All right, that brings us to the end of this round, and essentially the whole podcast has been a great one, and as expected, and to no one's surprise, GB
Woo!
with the photo finish.
Woohoo! My boat celebration is going up right now.
Oh gosh.
There
Just so
you
you
go.
know. Just so
Gosh.
you know. I told you, this is what I do.
And I told you I was going to let you win.
Love to see it. There you go.
No, that was just the excuse you had prepared.
No, I don't
Yeah,
make
was planting
excuses.
seeds.
I don't make excuses.
If
don't
you
know.
saw that
I mean,
video,
you don't
if
know
you saw that
this.
video of Obama throwing like the 3-pointer, this is what I
Oh
do.
yeah, nothing but net.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. I told the OG, he won't admit it because he sworn to secrecy, but I told OG to make you feel at home.
Sure.
So if the listeners look at how the points were being awarded, if you are watching this on YouTube, if you
No.
see how
You
the
know
points
what?
were being awarded, you see that I was making some very valid points, but I wasn't being
Oh
awarded
god.
points. So
Please. You
You
know
know
what?
what?
You can dispute this win as much as you want, but I'll take this W.
oh yeah, I'm
There you
giving it
go.
to you. That's the whole point. I'm
You're
giving
not
it to
giving
you.
it
Giving
to
it to me.
I'm
That's
giving it to you.
hilarious.
Sure.
Okay, great stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
On that note, we are going into a commercial break. All right, time for everybody's second part of the podcast. Obviously, first part most important. It's time for the giveaway, results, draws, and whatnot. PM, take it away.
Okay, guys, we're just going to go through this very quickly because I know you guys are anxious to know who won. We had a Twitter and Instagram giveaway, and most of you didn't know about the Twitter one, but most of you knew about the Instagram one. If you entered both, you have double the chance of winning. So let's see what the rules and requirements were to get this giveaway. So for the Instagram, you had to answer a question: who made an empty calabash sink in the river? And a lot of you were giving all sorts of answers. But if you follow our Twitter or Instagram page, we post these things we call facts. And if I were you, I would pay very close attention to them. I'd save all of them. I'd keep making mental notes of any fact I see. But on our Instagram page, for example, if you were one of our followers when we posted these facts, you would have seen them on the days we posted them. You can scroll through our feed and find it. Alternatively, it's in our highlights. And if you scroll through our highlights, you would find the answer. For this one, the answer would have been SG. So anyone answered SG was entered into the competition. The other requirements were you have to have tagged 2 people, you have to be a subscriber to our YouTube channel, and you have to have a government issued ID and be above the age of 18. For the Twitter, very similarly, facts also, you know where to find them. If you're on our Twitter page, you should have just scrolled down our feed and you would have found it, or you could have gone to an Instagram page and just found it the same way I just subscribed. But the question was who scored an own goal from the halfway line? That was our very own OG having a very off day and some poor communication with the goalkeeper, scored an own goal from the halfway line. You guys gave some amazing answers, but unfortunately, if it wasn't OG, it wasn't the answer we were looking for. So, other requirements: be a subscriber to our YouTube channel, very similar, and same requirements: having a government issued ID and being above the age of 18. You also would have had to retweet the post that we put in there for the Twitter. Okay, so the moment you guys have all been waiting for. But before that, just a reminder, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe Google Podcasts, subscribe Apple Podcasts, subscribe to anywhere you get podcasts. And the reason being, we might not always announce our promotions on our Instagram or Twitter page. It might just be on the podcast. And so you would miss out if you weren't subscribed. And don't forget to turn your notifications on. It's very great. We want you to subscribe, but we also don't want you to miss it. So turn your notifications on. All right. Go straight into what you guys have been all waiting for. The winner of our Instagram giveaway, $100 in our local currency. Let's see. Mobley, congratulations, Mobley. And we'll be contacting you to make sure you meet all our eligibility requirements that we mentioned. If we are unable to verify some of the requirements, we have to select a new winner via new draw. But for now, you are the winner. Congratulations. Twitter, and I won't talk too much. I will just go straight to it. The winner is for our Twitter. Salako Matthew. So Salako Matthew, if I remember this name correctly, is someone who actually entered Instagram draw and obviously didn't win, entered our Twitter draw and won. So congratulations to you. Second time's the charm. And we'll be contacting you similarly to verify. And if we're unable, we'll select a different winner. So congratulations. So the question of the week. The question of the week. I want you guys to take a wild guess where this is going to come from. If, like I said, you've been paying attention to our facts, you have some idea how we are going to, select what the question is going to be. And maybe I shouldn't waste too much time. I should just dive right into it. Who once scored a header with his left foot? Who once scored a header with his left foot? If you know the answer to this question, send us an email at podcast@wonderleague.com or DM us on our Instagram accounts with the answer. Stay tuned for more promotions coming your way via Wonder League. I'm very sure we will have another promotion on our next podcast. So, PM, do you have any words to say before we close this out?
Yeah, as PM said, subscribe, like, share, follow. Stay tuned. Comments. We're looking at everything. And who knows, in the near future, we might invite one of you to debate a topic, with experts. Let's call them. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great week and see you in the next episode.